So what happened was we was out there drinking, and what the police report ain't showing is my cousin had a black eye. So me and old boy start arguing because me and my cousin close. So it was weird, but he was feeling like me and my cousin had other type of relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like sexual relationship, I'm just gonna be honest. So I kept telling him, man, it's my cousin. I don't get down like that. Like that ain't nothing that I grew up on. We don't have sex with our family members. He just kept getting aggressive. So I kind of just snapped. I took the situation with him. I took it as he was challenging me, and I was looking at my cousin, and I just got him out the way in a sense.
But she stayed with him, right? She didn't stand by her cousin.
But now she dead.
Another wild Connecticut parole hearing. Disclaimer is don't drink the water. He was sentenced to 5 years in 2021 for second-degree assault. He's only got about a year left in his sentence. We'll unpack it with the details at the end.
Parole application of Mr. Jamal Hosendove, inmate number 299904, serving a total effective sentence of 5 years. This is a concurrent sentence for the charges of assault second degree, assault third degree, and threatening second degree. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of April 16, 2024. This is at 85% eligibility. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for this offender, which has been reviewed and shows that the offender has successfully completed the security risk group phases 2 through 5. And this is after my reviewing the RT3M screens. After the DIS interview with parole officer Shamaroy, the offender additionally has gone on to successfully complete anger management, which was completed successfully on the 18th of April, 2024, which I also verified during my RT3M query. The offender remains on the Department of Correction waiting list for general referral for eviction services, and 5 or 7 day job assignment, and lastly, voices. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score on the RT falls within the moderate range of risk for recidivism. All right, Mr. Hosendove, this is your opportunity now to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
I think I should be granted parole because I'm no longer the same person mentally. I'm able to think more clearly. I wasn't able to think clearly in the past. I'm now on my medicine, so that's helping a lot. And I just come to the realization that I've been doing it too long. I've been doing it since I was a kid, and then losing my mother and just losing my brother like 2 years ago, it made me reflect on myself and to want to do better for myself. So that's all.
Thank you for your statement, sir. We have questions for you, okay? And then we'll deliberate and give you our decision here today.
All right.
A lot here, sir. You know, what's most concerning to me is you're here for assault and threatening, and then while you're incarcerated, you have assault, threatening, fighting, these tickets. Why?
Well, honestly, the fighting that was like gang related, but though I'm from Connecticut, I haven't grew up here. So with me coming into the system and going into the gang program, like I'm not known, people don't know me. So it's still not an excuse, but I just had to fight at times. It wasn't nothing that I instigated. I handled it when it came my way. And as far as the assault go on the DOC, I was trying to do something to another inmate, and the officer said that it had got on him or whatever. So they charged me with that. But that wasn't my
mean? Can you explain that?
As far as the DOC?
Assault on DOC, yeah.
So there was something going on in the yard with the inmate. So I spit, which I shouldn't have been doing anyway. But the officer said that the spit had got on him.
Well, why are you spitting on people?
Because he had punched somebody that was close to me. Assaulted somebody, and I couldn't do nothing.
But what did you gain by spitting on him?
Absolutely
I'll tell you what
nothing.
you gained: an assault on DOC disciplinary report. It's not good.
A lack of
and
proper
these
judgment.
Incidents, you know, we read about some of these incidents. They were serious incidents.
Right.
That kind of behavior is unacceptable, especially when you're in for assaulting and threatening people. I mean, let's talk about your offenses. The knives, did you always carry a knife?
I'm not gonna say always, but throughout things happening to me, like I've been to prison before, I've been stabbed in jail, I've been stabbed in the streets. So it's kind of like something I picked up. But far as that situation, I still wasn't supposed to stab him, but it was my cousin husband and he was beating him. So I got frustrated with the situation and I assaulted him.
But you were walking with the two of them. I read the police report.
Yeah, I was walking
Right?
with him.
Okay, so she was not in danger. You were all walking together, and
She
then
had a,
out of nowhere, you pull out a knife and cut his neck. I don't understand. Tell us how it happened.
So what happened was we was out there drinking, and what the police report ain't showing is my cousin had a black eye. So me and old boy start arguing because me and my cousin close. So it was weird, but he was feeling like me and my cousin had other type of relationship. Know what I'm saying? Like sexual relationship, I'm just gonna be honest. So I kept telling him, man, it's my cousin. I don't get down like that. Like that ain't nothing that I grew up on. We don't have sex with our family members. He just kept getting aggressive. So I kind of just snapped. I took the situation with him. I took it as he was challenging me, and I was looking at my cousin, and I just got him out the way in a sense.
But she stayed with him, right? She didn't stand by her cousin.
But now she dead. So we both lost.
I mean, did you consider calling the police?
I'm not gonna lie, no, man.
Right. It's that thinking, it has to change. You know, we can't handle everything ourselves, right? We all know about bad situations going on and you try to help people. We can't just take matters into our own hand.
That's what I'm learning. I'm ashamed that it took a while for me to learn it, but through mental health counseling, my cousin sending me books on adult children and alcoholics, showing me my childhood traumas and things of that nature. I'm trying to work on myself and learn different avenues of self-control, thinking, and things of that nature. I
want to talk about the other situation because again, it involved a knife, and I believe it was a random woman on the street.
Honestly speaking, they say that, and though I copped out to that, I don't even recall that, miss. I'm not gonna lie.
Why would a stranger make up some story like that? Were you intoxicated?
I was. I'm not gonna say she made it up. I'm not gonna lie. But from the video that my lawyer showed me, it shows me arguing with a woman, but I still can't picture it here. I don't remember it. Like
that's even scarier. That you're doing this type of thing, threatening to stab somebody with a knife to their stomach, and you don't even remember. That's scary.
Well, I need help with it.
You mentioned being intoxicated. Alcohol is an issue for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you used Pruno while you're in the facility?
Yeah, I got a ticket from it, but ever since then, I've been straight.
When was that?
Probably like a year ago, if that. It's been a minute.
Are you on the RT screen? Can you see that transfer ticket? Have you taken a substance abuse program?
Not in here, no. They don't have it.
They have substance abuse programming there. Let's see.
They haven't given it to me. I got voices and anger management.
What the time that you used Pruno, was it the time that you picked up one of these tickets?
There's a contraband class A on August 11th, 2022. Is that the one?
Must be, if there's nothing else around there.
That says, yeah.
August 22.
Because it's, yeah, August.
Yeah, so were you intoxicated when you got the fighting ticket?
No, ma'am.
Are they the same date?
No, he's got some others after that, but on the 11th of August
Right.
22 and on the 11th of
Yeah.
August 22, there was fighting.
You got the ticket on the same day for
Yeah, but the
Bruno and
Pruno,
fighting.
but the Pruno wasn't done. It was
Wasn't
cooking in
what?
the. It wasn't done. I didn't drink it yet. They
So
found
you
the
drink
whole.
it.
They
You
found
drink
the
it
whole
after the
bag.
fight. You just told me that you used Pruno in the facility.
So I said I was using Pruno up until I got caught, and then I stopped using it. That's what I said.
Yeah, you stopped using it when you got the ticket for it, no?
Right. But
And
I
I'm
don't
telling
recall.
you, that was the same day as one of your fighting tickets. Anyway,
Yeah, I
my
don't-
point is, if that's how you act when you're using substances, then it's probably a good idea to stop using substances, right?
Absolutely.
Let's see what's on OAP. SRG 4 and 5 completed that.
He actually, according to the RT3M, it was 2 5.
Okay. Oh, okay, but then there's an updated one that includes anger management and addiction services. You did the anger management, but you have not yet done an addiction services program.
So that's
Okay.
what's next. They got me
That's
on
what's next,
voices
and you
list.
need that. I'm sorry?
They got me on the voices list.
Voices would be another good one. Voices and a tier program would be very helpful for you, I think. 14 tickets is a lot of tickets. Your charges are concerning, so you need to take advantage of all the programs. And you have a warrant in North Carolina for a DUI as well, so it's very clear that alcohol is an issue for you that needs to be addressed. What are your plans for staying sober when you're in the community?
Staying away from the liquor store, doing things that's going to enable me to prosper, work out, things like that, and think about all the harm that alcohol has done me.
Yep. Well, how did you find the Jesus House in Indiana? Why Indiana?
Through a book. The pastor had a book he wrote.
So you read a book while you were there? And that's
Yes,
where you
ma'am.
got the idea to go there? Okay.
Yeah, and I wrote him and asked for the application. He sent me the application and they accepted me.
Okay. All right. I'm going to turn things over to my colleague now. Thank you for answering my questions. Ms. Palmieri?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I want to start back with, you told, you mentioned in one of the interviews that you committed the offense because you lacked impulse control. However, what have you done? What do you think you've done to manage that going forward?
Taking my medicine and I'm self-reflecting more.
So, okay. So you mentioned taking your medicine and that makes you feel well?
Yeah, it keeps me from being like real aggressive and agitated and always moving.
Okay. All right. And how long has medication been a part of your life?
All my life, but I rebelled against it. But now, as I'm getting older and I'm thinking about my mother and her death, it's like, damn, I'm listening to her now that she's dead, like I should have been taking my medicine. But I used to think that the medicine was like harming me or I wasn't normal. And so I rebelled against it.
Okay. All right. And you feel like that helps you with your impulse control?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And your anger helps with that as well?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And with your long-term memory, it helps also? Did I read that someplace?
No, I don't got no
Okay.
problem with my memory.
Okay. All right. The chair started to ask you about the Jesus House in Indianapolis. You read a book and you applied. What did you have to tell them about yourself in the application?
Like your past history, crimes. Have you ever had a job before? How many incarcerations have you had? Things like that, miss.
Okay. All right. Did you have to tell them about your prior gang involvement?
I didn't, but
You did or you
I
didn't?
said, I didn't.
Okay. Do you think that's going to be a problem?
No, because gangs ain't a problem. It's just something I was doing for so long and then going through the ins and outs of it. Going through, like, I tried to get away from the gang one time before and it went okay, but I ended up getting injured because of it, got stabbed up or whatever. But then I end up falling back. But I understand what to do now. Gotta separate yourself. I'm not really worried about the consequences. I just gotta move forward, become a better man for myself. I'm not worried about what can happen. I just gotta move forward.
So they took you off the SRG segregation that was removed in 2023. How long were you involved with the gangs?
Since I was like 14, 15.
And you're 43 right now. That's a long time to just say, I'm done.
Like I said, I've been through the ups and downs of it. It ain't really what it is anymore. It wasn't really nothing in the beginning. But when you don't have the understanding of life, you tend to do things that's detrimental to you. And that's one part of my life that was detrimental to me, being a gang member.
Do you think it's going to be difficult when you're back out in the community to stay away from that kind of lifestyle?
No.
All right. What is your plan to continue with your medication in the community? Have you thought about that?
Yes, ma'am. I gotta go see a doctor, get mental health treatment, therapy. I've been talking to my cousin a lot about therapy, so she been teaching me the steps to take when I get out to go get the help I need mentally.
And if you go to this Jesus house in Indianapolis, have you alerted them that you would want to be continue with medication?
Yeah, they help you with that. It says that in there. They help you with your medication. They help you with job preparedness and stuff like that.
Yeah, I read the letter from them accepting you into their program. It almost sounds too good to be true. You know, with all that they'll do, pick you up at the bus station or however it is that you get close to their program, then they take you in.
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you get the book that you learned about them?
In the library.
Okay. All right. Do you think you'll be happy in Indianapolis?
Yeah, because it don't seem like it because of my history and stuff, but I got a love for God. So I feel like I could learn more and it's something that I really want to do. And I promised my mother on her deathbed that I was going to change. So this is me honoring her.
Do you have ties to Connecticut? Anybody, any family in Connecticut?
Yes.
Who do you have in Connecticut?
I have my sister, my brothers, my cousins, my aunts.
Okay. Why were you living in a shelter then before you were arrested?
Because family, not family, like that lady was explaining earlier. They love me, but you ain't about to be living here. I'm a grown man. I got to figure it out. So I don't blame them. That's part of the reason too, why I end up drinking all crazy when I was just in the shelter, end up stabbing, because I was so depressed. I didn't understand why I had family and I had to be in the shelter. But then as I start thinking about it, I'm a grown man. I gotta figure it out myself. So I tend to forgive them now. But that's just the truth. My mother, dad, ain't no love like your mother.
No, you're right about that. All right. And your plan is have you ever been to AA meetings before or maintained sobriety for any length of time?
I tried AA in the streets, but I wasn't too strong.
You think it'll be different this time?
I believe so, because I've been through the suffering already. You know, some people could learn from others' mistakes, but I'm the type, I had to learn by my mistakes, by my suffering. So what I went through, it taught me what not to do.
When the chair asked you about having done a substance abuse program at the prison, you said not this time. Have you done a drug treatment program before? or an alcohol program before?
Like I said, I tried, but it didn't really work because of my reliance on it, or it's in my family real heavy, like alcoholism. So it's something that I struggle with.
So actually going to Indianapolis, kind of being away from your family might be a helpful thing.
That's exactly it.
Okay. All right. Thank you for answering my questions.
Thank you,
Yes,
Ms.
ma'am.
Hunter. Ms. Paul. All right, so you can listen to our deliberation, give us some time to discuss your case, and we'll get back to you with our decision, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hosendove, this is a tough one for me, if I'm being perfectly honest, because, I think I consider this a high risk. There's been some dangerous activity. We have these serious tickets, serious offenses while in the community with a knife. The history doesn't help. Assault with a deadly weapon and possession of a firearm. Alcohol is clearly an issue, and he hasn't had substance abuse treatment. Continue to use Pruno on the inside. So those are all negative things, right? And then we're stuck with this dilemma because he has a flat sentence.
Yep.
No supervision to follow, no support. And maybe, just maybe, going to the Jesus House in Indiana would be a fresh start for him. He did do the SRG phases 2 through 5, according to our system, 2, meaning he was very active. And we know that to be the case because he's been involved with a gang for almost 30 years. So I'm not really confident that this is all over for him because it's been such a lengthy journey for him. But I think he probably could use some support, supervision, and maybe he really did learn this time from the program that he did take, the anger management, the gang program, and again, he's planning to go to a program that might be helpful in a different location where nobody knows him. So your thoughts, Mary?
Well, I can't disagree with anything that you said. The only thing I would add to it in terms of a positive side to all the negative that he does present, is his appreciation for the benefits of taking his medication. Right. At 43 years old, I think that I found the fact that he could identify the medication is helping him with impulse control, at least is a step in the right direction. He does have a criminal history. Based on what I was reading, I expected it to be a little bit more dense than it is, especially with his long history of gang involvement.
Right.
But of nothing else, I'm encouraged by his realization about the need for medication and how it does help regulate his emotions, which could be what is necessary for him to succeed in the community. And going to someplace away from all that he knows. I mean, I'm not always a big believer that that's the answer, but for somebody with his history,
Right.
And struggles that he has even with his own family, I think it could be a benefit.
I also wish that he had more of a plan with the relapse prevention, although he does acknowledge that alcohol is a problem for him, and it leads to, I mean, when you can't even remember some of the crimes you're committing or the gravity, then that's a real problem. And he does acknowledge that, genetically, historically, it's a problem for his family. So I hope that he would take it more seriously and try to find a supportive community for relapse prevention. Mr. Paul?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I actually had a very different outcome at the beginning than I do right now. The flat sentence is highly concerning with the behavior that's been displayed while incarcerated.
Yeah.
However, I need to also keep in mind that successful reentry is incredibly important to our mission as an agency. And we're going what the Jesus House in Indianapolis, Indiana offers. And the fact that we have an acceptance letter into that program. It is a program for people who have been released recently. It does deal with all of the challenges that Mr. Hosendove is experiencing. And one of the things that it helps with is employment.
Yeah.
In that whole piece. Although I don't like the circumstances, I think that if we're looking at public safety in this particular case, it's parole to interstate to get him into the program itself. So he has the opportunity to continue on the path that he's tried to stay on most recently.
Yeah.
And, we talked a little bit about his disciplinary report. So his last disciplinary report is a little over 18 months ago.
Mhm.
And it does predate his SRG segregation removal too. So there is another sort of
Mhm.
realization of what needs to be done to
Yeah.
manage himself.
All right, so I have a victim MC, a general no TF, alcohol, interstate, halfway house, mental health treatment. Anything else?
No.
All right. Okay, in the matter of Jamal Hosendove, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Inmate number 299904. I'll make a motion to grant parole effective today, April 24th, 2024, with the following conditions. You'll parole to interstate for Indiana, halfway house placement if it's needed. No contact with your victim, MC. General no contact with the other victim, TF. No alcohol consumption, and mental health treatment with medication compliance. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do you have questions? Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I understand.
It's a process, so it may take a little bit, but we want to set you up with a successful reintegration. But you have to put in the work too. I really hope that you're done with all of this life and that you can be successful in Indiana.
I am, and I will be.
Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
This concludes this parole hearing for Mr. Jamal Hosendove, 299904.
I guess it's just to take a step back and look at the reality of the situation is that I think the parole board did the best that they could, right? So when they have flat sentences, what we've seen is that they like to parole so that they can have some type of supervision. Now, many sentences in Connecticut, they have what's called special parole, which is often a long period of time. And we've seen 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And so it's baked in basically no matter what they get out and they have a period of special parole. In that case, they deny more often because they know that they're going to have supervision when they get out. In this situation, he just had a flat sentence. He was getting out anyways in like a year or even less, like half a year. So they wanted to give him those conditions. And what are they supposed to do? Right? I mean, what was the parole board supposed to do? If you want to make arguments against problems, I think you could say it's with the DA giving a 5-year sentence. This wasn't his first trip to prison. You can tell that it was that he's got quite a history. Second, he picked up a new assault charge in prison. It was for spitting on the officer. He has his side of the story. They have theirs. They gave him 6 months, but it was running concurrent. So he didn't pick up any extra time, but he did pick up another charge. And he has those drinking write-ups. They didn't put him through any programs while he was in there, like for his drinking problem, which he's like very transparent about. So if you want to say where the problems are, I would say in the DOC, I would say it's in the prosecution office. I would say it's all of that. If he comes right back, who else are you supposed to blame? Not the parole board in this case, but okay. All that being said, and we'll go over one of his other offenses that he picked up that they didn't even reference in this case. That's what we have. In some ways, I liked him. I actually liked him. You know why I liked him? I thought that he was being entirely authentic. I think what we saw is what we got. I think that he was being really honest. He had insight to his, family genetic drinking problems. He didn't, I think he was just being honest. And I really appreciate that. That's unique. He was also uniquely respectful. And if I had to guess, it's probably because of where he's from. I think he's from North Carolina. And, even in, like what I said, in Louisiana, there are inmates that aren't respectful, but generally they have more of that kind of Southern charm. And I never really appreciated that or even realized that until starting to do Connecticut hearings. And then you see like where there's just no respect at all. It is interesting how he talks about the first offense. It's just kind of like this, it's an off-putting, nonchalant like way, but where he's like, yeah, we're having an argument. And then I just, so I stabbed him. And they're like, well, she didn't even stand up for you. Yeah, now she's dead. And I don't have any info on her. We don't have her information, how she died. Was it that man who killed her? That would be pretty crazy, right? That would be pretty wild if that was the case. And I don't know. I don't know if you, anyways, let me go into this. Thank you, Richard, for the info. So this is an appeal for a crime that took place in 2011, Jacksonville, North Carolina. So the police responded to an alleged armed robbery at the Sandy Run apartment complex. The caller gave a brief description of two assailants and alerted authorities that one of the suspects might have a weapon. Upon arrival, police spotted Marcus and Jamal, who fit the description of the assailant provided by the 911 caller. After a brief chase, both men were arrested. The police also found a firearm nearby. Now, at trial, Anthony Stevens testified that Marcus assaulted him in the hallway of the Randy Run apartment complex after he failed to pay a debt owed to Robinson. Stevens noticed a second man standing behind him when he tried to get away. Stevens was unable to identify the second man because he stood in a poorly lit area of the hallway. However, Stevens did see a firearm tucked inside the man's waistband, which he described as silver with black or brown handle. The government also introduced testimony from several police officers, including Officer Irvin and his partner, Officer Smallwood, who were the first officers to respond to the 911 call. Irvin saw the black men fitting the description given by the 911 caller, the two men, Robinson and Hosendove. What is that? Is that German? What is that descent? Hosendove. Probably that's Hosendove name origin. I just did a Google search. Let's see, it says that it's interesting because it says the characteristics are like read here. Many of the modern surnames in the dictionary can be tracked to Britain and Ireland. I don't know if that's not what you would think, right? So anyways, I got distracted. I'm sorry. We're walking away from Sandy Run apartment complex as Irvin and Smallwood arrived. Irvin blew his horn to get their attention. So that's a police officer. They're in the car. He blew his horn. And then our friend, who we just saw his parole hearing, immediately began running. Irvin pursued him in his police cruiser and saw him remove a firearm from his waistband. So he yelled, "He's got a gun," to inform his partner, who then immediately started to dispatch JA in what Irvin described as an effort to defend himself. Listen to this. Against what he perceived to be a deadly threat. He hit him in the right front corner. He hit him. So our friend Jamal was hit by a police car. These are things we've seen on dash cams like quite often these days. At that point, Jamal threw the firearm on the ground, rolled off the hood of the car, and continued running. And just like that, he was fine and off to the races. After he discarded the firearm, Irving got out of his cruiser and pursued him on foot. Once Robinson and and Jamal were apprehended. The officers located the discarded firearm, which matched Stephen's description of the weapon. During cross-examination, so now we're back in trial, right? During cross-examination, defense counsel asked Irvin if he had kicked him in the head after securing him on the ground. Officer Irvin denied it, but defense counsel then introduced a recorded video of the arrest that contradicted his statement. Dang. Wow. After the close of the government's case in chief, I hate when they use last names. Jamal moved for a judgment of acquittal under Rule 29 of the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure. The district court denied the motion. So Jamal's only evidence was to walk before members of the jury so that they could observe his stature. He then rested and renewed his motion for judgment and acquittal, which was the court again denied. Why would he walk in front of them? I don't understand that. The jury returned a guilty verdict on the charge of being a felon in possession of a firearm. So I'm not familiar with that statute where the case can be dismissed, but I guess if a witness lies on the stand, maybe that's what the statute is. Kicking someone in the head while they're down, that's, I mean, I guess you have to watch all the footage. Was he putting up a fight? Was it, how deliberate was it, right? But this was 2011. This day and age, who knows what could spark from something like that. Which I have to tell you, you know, nothing gets me more angry than police officers abusing their power. It's something that, and I'm blue. I bleed blue, but I'll call it for what it is, in my eyes, in my opinion, right? And the PSR coming in for level sentencing, we don't have enough information to make a call on this. That's my takeaway. If you're curious, I would need to see all the info. Anyways, so that was it. He was found guilty. What did they sentence him to? I don't know. But what did you think of the hearing? Did you have a similar takeaway where you kind of liked him, or did you feel that? I mean, he's still, in my eyes, liking him is not, you know. But the bottom line is, whether I like him or not, the bottom line is, or whether he has good intentions or not, I think the risk, the danger, is so eminent and so real. I mean, think about what he was talking about with the woman, that he had no memory, no recollection. He has a knife. He's threatening her. They have it on camera. He admits to having it in his DNA, the substance abuse problem, which good for him for identifying that, but he doesn't have the tools. He doesn't have the system. He doesn't have the support in place to even help him succeed. He's going to get out there, in my opinion, he's a danger to society. And that's scary. That is terrifying. And it's like, I think the question, sadly, is, will we see him again? And what kind of damage will he do when we do see him again? I'm rooting for him. I would love for him to succeed. But let's be real. I mean, you know, anybody in this situation is going against all odds. The odds are stacked against you. And the odds are even more stacked against him. It's scary, and I certainly hope that we don't see him again. And if we do, I hope that it's not, someone is not greatly hurt. And with that, I'll let you go.